Lauren and Jay Peachy here. Great. We saw each other, I guess, Shoppers Drug Mart, that you had a cycle there. But that was in the spring, I guess?
Took the global ride when it was finished. I got back in November 2011, and they turned it into an annual event every June, every last Sunday in June for the Canada Day long weekend. In different communities across Canada, we have a Ride Don't Hide, which again is to raise awareness in regards to mental health and battle the stigma there that's still associated with mental illness, and raise funds for this noble nonprofit. And so last June when we talked, I think there were a dozen rides in BC and one out in Ontario. And this June we have a dozen in BC, one in Calgary, and I think half a dozen in Ontario. So it's hopefully on its way to being a recognized event every year.
And so, where would the funds for the programming go? Like, I guess the Canadian Mental Health Association has branches across the country, and they seem to each have their own kind of initiatives. Is there a general direction where the funds go?
Yeah, every year it's different. Last year was very much focused on women and their families, so they were starting up a new program called Enjoying Your Baby, and it was addressing women and their some women have postpartum issues that again is coming to light, thankfully. And my ride at the time, I'm a teacher, so it all went towards youth programs and awareness for parents and youth. And it'll be women and youth again for this June. The Canadian, just for your listeners, just so a little background, the Canadian Mental Health Association is, I believe, the longest running nonprofit in Canada, certainly for mental health. There's over 130 branches in Canada. Quite a history there. They're coming up to their 100th anniversary. So yeah, you'll see them in communities of all sorts of sizes across Canada, and I feel pretty good about working with them.
Cool. There's an event called Mind Check coming up, and I recall seeing over Facebook. Are you associated with that, or do you have any thoughts on what that's doing for youth? Because I believe it's associated with the Canucks and
Yeah, I think it's amazing. They took a tragic situation with Rick Rippen's suicide there. I guess about 2 years ago, the Canuck that committed suicide, and the his friend really wanted to do something with that and didn't let it go, and turned into something like you said called Mind Check. And so the Canucks have really reached out to the youth and using their cachet and their fame and their leverage there to reach youth and get youth talking and learning about mental health. They've got an amazing website called Mind Check, and they are working with another organization called the Kelty organization, I believe. Okay. And yes, you're right, coming up next Friday, I think it is, at Rogers Arena, we have this symposium with a whole bunch of different speakers and organizations all around mental illness and mental health coming together to talk and educate high school students about this stuff. And I think they're projecting about 1,500 high school students coming in from various parts of the Lower Mainland. And yeah, it's an honor to be able to present there and tell the Ride Don't Hide story and tell everyone about the upcoming June 22nd ride coming up this June.
That sounds amazing. I actually had another question for you, Michael.